Hello viewers. Today I prepared this video on internal structure of a leaf. All right. So as you know, the internally a leaf is divided into three parts basically. Okay. The upper epidermis, the mesophyll layer, and the lower epidermis. So in short, if I want to show you, this is basically your upper epidermis. This layer is the upper epidermis. All right. Layer B and C, they both are the part of the mesophyll layer. That means the middle layer, whatever you say. Okay. And the last layer, you can see this last thing. Okay. So that is the basically the what lower epidermis. Okay. So do you get my point? So layer A is whatever you see on the top of the leaf basically. Okay. And layer D is the other way of the leaf, that little less greener part of the leaf, that is basically the layer D. And in between we don't see this layer B and C basically. Okay, so today what we are going to do is we'll look at all these layers. Okay, whatever they contain and what are the advantages of having such structure, we'll be discussing that. Okay, so I hope that you watch the whole video, and then only you will get the whole idea about the internal structure of a leaf. All right. Okay. So let's begin with layer A. What's the name of layer A? I hope you know it. Basically, it's the upper epidermis. All right. So this is your upper epidermis. Okay. So what are the things that is present inside your upper epidermis is the first thing that comes to my mind is the cuticle. Okay. So what's the use of cuticle is it prevents water loss. All right. So basically, cuticles are present to prevent what water loss. So you can see this layer on top. There is a transparent layer of cuticle in every leaf. Okay. So if this layer, this cuticle is basically transparent and it's waterproof. Okay. It's there. Sometimes in some books you will get this as a waxy cuticle. Okay. Okay. Then the second thing we have to know about the upper epidermis is no chloroplast in the cells. So the cells, as you can see these are the cells basically. There are many cells in a upper epidermis layer, but the cells, they don't have basically any what chlorophyll or the chloroplast, you can say. So it's empty. You can see it's fully empty. Okay. There's an advantage for this. You know what? Because if you don't have chloroplast here, so that the sunlight, it can travel through it and it can come here in the layer B or in the layer C as well. Okay, so if the upper epidermis, it contained a chlorophyll, what happened? The sunlight would have been trapped here in the layer A. But the problem with this layer A is the photosynthesis doesn't take place in that layer. Basically, you will get in the leaf, the photosynthesis takes place basically in the layer B and layer C, a combined way. It doesn't matter in which layer it happens. Okay, so it happens in layer B and layer C. Most of the time it happens in layer B. Do you get my point? So as a result, to allow the sunlight to pass through the layer A, there is no what chloroplast in the layer A. All right, so we are done with the layer A. Now we'll focus on the layer B. What do you mean by layer what B? Okay, so your layer B, this layer, we call that as palisade mesophyll, or you can say palisade cells. Palisade layer also you can say. I'll be writing it as palisade layer. Okay, so this layer, it has a advantage, like the adaptation of this layer is, if you look at this cells, they're basically closely packed. So one of the adaptation of this palisade layer is the cells are closely packed. So you will be saying, what's the use of closely packed? So see what happens, because of, since the cells are closely packed, these are your cells. Okay, these are your cells. You can see where they are very close by. So the advantage is whenever the sunlight, see, you can see this is the sunlight entering, right? So since they are closely packed, the sunlight cannot escape the cells. Okay, so it's easy to receive more and more sunlight. As a result, the cells are closely packed. So here you can write to receive enough sunlight. All right, so that's why it's a good adaptation of a leaf in the palisade cells, all the layer, you can say that the cells are closely packed so that you can receive a lot of sunlight. Okay, got it. Then what comes in my mind is the second good adaptation of this cell is, as you look in this layer, there are a lot of chloroplasts. So these round things, these are your chloroplasts basically. In each cell, there are at least 10 to 15 chlorophyll in this figure, whatever we can see. Okay, in general, in reality, it's basically more. Okay, so here we can see these cells contain a lot of chlorophyll. As a result of this chlorophyll, it's more and more sunlight will be trapped. You know, the chlorophyll basically they trap sunlight. Okay, so here we can write lot of chloroplast in each cells, right? So this is also a good adaptation of what layer B basically. Okay, there yeah, that's it. So you have to know two things about this palisade cells. All right, I've written them. Okay, so basically we are done with the this layer. Now we'll go for layer what, C. Okay, so let me change the color. Okay, so for layer C, as I've said, this layer is called spongy mesophyll. All right, so layer C is called the spongy what, mesophyll layer. Okay, so what is the advantage of having this layer is there are many features of a leaf in this layer we'll be seeing. So one of the feature what I want you guys to know is to see they have basically vascular bundle here. If I draw this, this is your vascular bundle basically. Okay, so I'll change the color of that. This is basically your vascular bundle. All right, this is your vascular bundle. So here also there is vascular bundle here, right? See, this is your vascular bundle. So in layer C, basically there are many vascular bundle depending on the region where that plant grows. Okay, so there are many vascular bundle in the spongy mesophyll. Okay, so you'll be saying what is the advantage of having a vascular bundle then? So you know what's a vascular bundle is. Vascular bundle is something that we have the xylem and the phloem together. Okay, so you have vascular bundle. All right, okay, so vascular bundle enables what, enough water supply. This is one of the advantage of having a vascular bundle. Okay, so one of the advantage of having a vascular bundle is the xylem vessels, they carry water from the root into the what, spongy mesophyll. Okay, so you know that one of the raw material for photosynthesis is the water. So you need a good supply of water. Without water there is no photosynthesis. You have to understand that. All right, I'll be making another video on the equation and what are the requirements or the conditions needed for the photosynthesis. For now, you have to know without water there is no photosynthesis. However, you give a lot of carbon dioxide, but still there is no photosynthesis without water. Okay, so because of vascular bundle, you get a good supply of water. Okay, let's see at the second feature of this layer is the air spaces. So basically, this is your air space. Okay, these are your air spaces. This structure is the air space basically. If I write here air space. Okay, so this structure is your air space. So you'll be saying what's the use of having an air space? Air spaces are basically needed for the gases diffusion. The gases can diffuse through the air spaces. Now, for example, these cells, suppose these cells are photosynthesizing. okay, they produced oxygen. So that oxygen has to come out of the cell, right, of the leaf, you can say. So what happens is, see, from here, from these cells, the oxygen they diffuse one another, they diffuse from cell to cell, then they come inside this space. This is your air space. From this air space, they can come out of this structure. The structure E, whatever I'll be saying, this is your stomata basically. Okay, so your gases, they come in and get inside a leaf. It's only through the stomata. So you'll be saying above every stomata there is a air space. So air spaces are basically needed for what? Gaseous exchange. So there is air space in the what? Spongy mesophyll layer. Okay, so air spaces are needed for gaseous what? Exchange. All right, so this is also a good adaptation of a leaf. Okay, so without what gases, there is no photosynthesis. As you know, you need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. So what happens is, if I show you, the basically the carbon dioxide, they enter through the stomata, okay, and there is airspace. Through this airspace, they diffuse into the cells. Then from cell to cell, wherever the cell, whichever cell is performing photosynthesis, it can go to that cell. Okay, so this is the use of what? Airspace in this layer. Okay, and another good thing about this layer also, they also contain what? Chloroplast. So if I add, there is chloroplast even in these cells also. So that means photosynthesis takes place in two layers. That is layer B, that contains a lot of what? Chloroplast. Even in the layer C, the cells, they contain chloroplast, so that photosynthesis can occur. Do you get my point? So in layer C also you will have what? Photosynthesis. Okay, okay, done. Now let's go for what? Layer D. Okay, so by seeing what is your layer D is, layer D. Okay, so your layer D is, it's called basically what? Lower epidermis. All right, so this is your basically your lower epidermis, the last layer of a leaf. All right, okay, and there is not much we have to talk about the lower epidermis. The main feature of lower epidermis is it contains what? Stomata basically. So stomata, I have marked structure E. I'll be saying what is a stomata. Okay, we'll be talking about stomata now. And so for stomata, let me pick a, okay, let me pick a color for this stomata. It's basically this one. Let's see, structure. Oh, it's not that visible. Let me pick another color. Okay, structure E. Okay, so basically this structure E is the what? Stomata. Okay, basically what you there is a confusion here. The structure is pointing to the guard cells basically. This is your guard cell. Okay, so structure E is the guard cell, and the gap, whenever this guard cell opens up, the space that is produced inside between these guard cells, that space is called the stomata. Okay, so what is the advantage of having this structure is, number one point we can say, it allows what? Gases to enter and what? Exit the leaf. This is one of the function of what? Structure E, that is the guard cell. Okay, so gases, they enter and exit the leaf only through the structure E. So you'll be seeing a lot of structure E. See here in this figure we can see there are 3 structure E's. That means 3 guard cells, right? So through these structures, anything that can enter or exit the leaf. You get my point? So there is a myth that even something can come out from the layer A. No, you have to remember, as a student we think that okay, from layer A also some water might be evaporated. No, that's not true. There is no water evaporation from layer A. My students, they ask me, sir, does the water evaporate? No. In the beginning of the video I've said there is cuticle, right? This cuticle part. All right, so this, because of this cuticle, there is no evaporation of water. Okay, so anything that has to enter or exit the leaf, it has to go through the what, guard cells. Okay, so you can assume the guard cells to be the door of a building. So your leaf is the building, and for entering that building you need to go through that door, and that is the guard cells. Okay, so this is one function of what, guard cell, for allowing the gases to pass through. Okay, there's another important function of guard cell is the water evaporation. Water evaporates through guard cells. So basically water evaporation. Okay, so basically water evaporation takes place through the guard cells. So whenever during daylight, whenever there is a sunlight, okay, the guard cells, they open up. It's like a door, it opens, and there is a space, and through that space basically water, as a result of diffusion from cell to cell, they diffuse and they come out of the guard cells, and basically that process is called transpiration. I have already done a video on transpiration, so you can look at that. Okay, so the second function of guard cell is to allow the water to come out of the what, leaf. All right, so we are done with the structures. So hopefully you have understood the basic adaptation. So this is also the basic adaptation of leaf, basically how the leaves are adapted. So these are basically the adaptations of leaf, how they survive, how they can perform their functions. All right, so I'll not add much. So thanks for staying for so long and watching the video carefully. Okay, so if you have any suggestion, please write in the comment box. All right, I'll appreciate that. And in future, I'll be making more videos on the transport of plants. I have video basically on the transportation of plants, but if you need more on the elaborate video, I'll be making it. Okay, so yeah, that's it about the what, structure of leaf. If you like my video, please subscribe, right, and share also with your friends. Okay, thank you. Stay tuned with Lighthouse Academy. Thank you. Bye.